Channel Japan. I'm Mai Denizu.
And I'm Makiko Tsuda.
Every week, we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from our studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy, culture, and even food, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
These are our topics for today. As always, we have some interesting stories to share with you, so stay with us. We start things off with Executive Insight, in which we speak with the top executives of Japan's top leading companies. So, Utsuda-san, who are we hearing from today?
Today we'll be featuring a department store operator, Isetan Mitsukoshi Holdings. And Debbie-san, how often do you go to department stores?
Well, if I have something that I want to buy, the first place that I think of is department store.
I actually go there quite often. But unfortunately, in recent years, the department store industry has been struggling, and one reason is the shrinking population. I have a graph over here. Core consumers between the age of 15 and 64, who are also the working age population, fell over 6 million during the last 15 years since 1995. And as a result, the addressable market has shrunk, and that has led to declining sales at department stores.
Well, I assume it's a big problem that affects the whole entire retail sector.
Yes, you could definitely say that. Another issue that has had a big impact is the way people shop has been changing. In the past, department stores were seen as a one-stop shop, as you can see here, and you could find everything you needed. But nowadays, the economy has matured, consumption has diversified, and there's also been an increasing shift to low-priced and practical products. So, unlike before, it's becoming difficult to attract customers by just offering a general selection of merchandise.
Well, I would have to agree because there are so many independent shops and brands now that offer low-priced and high-quality products.
There are, aren't there? Just to show you a few in apparel, fast fashion brands like H&M, Uniqlo, American Eagle are very popular, and they're eating into the sales of department stores. And the key to their success is the ability to offer the latest fashions and functions at very low prices.
Well, I've heard that shopping centers and they're also opening up into suburbs, and they're offering low-priced and popular fashion brands and drawing a lot of customers.
They're definitely another reason why department stores are suffering. These shopping centers and outlets are opening up in the suburbs and are drawing more customers. And to deal with this situation, Isetan Mitsukoshi Holdings has started to take a more flexible approach to stay competitive. And we talked to company president Hiroshi Onishi, so have a look.
Executive Insight. Shinjuku, Tokyo. There's a department store here that boasts the highest sales among its global peers. Isetan. Isetan was originally a kimono shop set up in 1886. The main store was opened in this location in 1933, and since then, they have gained a reputation for offering the latest fashions. Isetan operates stores across Japan as well as in several Asian countries. Nihonbashi, Tokyo. This is the location of Japan's first department store. Mitsukoshi. Opened in 1673, Mitsukoshi also started out as a kimono shop. The main building was built in a Renaissance style. A grand sculpture of a celestial maiden greets visitors. In 2011, these two major department stores merged and underwent a major facelift. Overseeing the entire business is Isetan Mitsukoshi Holdings. The president is Hiroshi Onishi.
Has the merger of Mitsukoshi and Isetan gone well so far? Merging two companies with different corporate cultures and positioning them in the same direction is not easy from an organizational perspective. But we now have a personnel exchange of about 250 employees who work in stores of former rivals. Through this type of friendly rivalry, I believe we're starting to create an environment in which it's possible to absorb the best aspects of each other.
With the Isetan Shinjuku main store, Mitsukoshi Nihonbashi main store, and Mitsukoshi Ginza store positioned as flagship stores, they have been able to remain number one by sales in the area and retain its premier status. But unable to expand their customer base, compounded by the fading popularity of department stores, the prospects for future growth have become increasingly bleak. Seeking to break out of this slump, the Isetan Shinjuku main store underwent a massive $95 million renovation.
どうぞ。
お待たせいたしました。開店でございます。どうぞゆっくりお進みくださいませ。どうぞゆっくりお進み。
On this day, there's a long line of customers. The renovation and reopening has generated wide interest.
Why did you decide to carry out a full renovation? The expectations of our customers are extremely high. To meet those demands, we feel it is necessary to constantly pursue a new future for department stores and actualize that vision. Given the economic outlook, there are no signs that the department store industry will improve. So unless we do this now, we may lose momentum. Stores that are bringing in large profits and revenues now may not be able to meet the expectations of customers. We have a sense of crisis. Therefore, we decided to give top priority to investing in the rebirth of this store.
A 25,000 square meter area was renovated at the Isetan Shinjuku main store, with the aim of turning it into the world's premier fashion museum. The purpose was to reduce the number of aisles and widen them, creating an environment in which customers can enjoy shopping. But wider aisles mean a smaller display area, which could impact sales. So why did Mr. Onishi decide to carry through with this strategy?
We get 70,000 to 80,000 customers on weekdays and over 100,000 on weekends. But even with those numbers, they have to shop in a very congested environment. I felt extremely bad for my customers. The number of products on the floor has shrunk by about 12%, but I felt it was more important to create a bigger environment and space and excitement for our customers. So we went ahead and did it this way.
Isetan's concept is to become the world's premier fashion museum. To that end, they've created a certain type of display. Called art frames, they show different images depending on the target customer or product. Their aim was to have displays that could serve almost like a painting, while also drawing customers into the world of fashion. By proposing situations, they hope to interest people in buying things. These art frames are a part of that strategy.
How's business been since? There were three big objectives for the renovations: to develop a new store for the future, to develop new customers, and to increase customer satisfaction. But in this day and age, making an investment during a sales downturn won't immediately result in a boost to the top line. From that perspective, in terms of numbers and the response of customers, we believe things are proceeding relatively smoothly. But in good times, it's necessary to think about the negative things and issues and the future of the store 5 years out. In that sense, 30% of our problems have still to be solved. We need to fix them up as quickly as possible.
In June this year, 3 months after the reopening, we visited the store before business hours. At 9 a.m., store staff were busy running around as they prepared to welcome customers. Once preparations are completed, a morning assembly is held on each sales floor. Staff are given detailed data on sales the day before and comparisons to the previous year. Mr. Onishi was also in the store. It's 10:30. The store is open. Customers who lined up before the opening begin filing into the store. Mr. Onishi personally greets the customers. He says it's an opportunity to get to know them.
I believe the few minutes after the opening are extremely important in observing the customers' faces and understanding the people who come to shop at our store. You can find out if there's been a shift in the customer base, or if fewer people are coming on a Saturday, or if the first customers are mostly those who have a specific purchase in mind, and what section they're going to.
Mr. Onishi has carried out a range of reforms. One of them is renaming the sales staff. They are now called stylists.
Good morning. How has business been after the renovation?
Customers have told me that they're impressed with the unique concepts of the shops.
That's a good talking point.
It is.
Are there any products that you've chosen?
No, the buyers do that.
When you look at customers, you must have some idea of what they want.
Yes, I do.
Well, next time you find something, you should put in an order.
When he has time, Mr. Onishi speaks with the stylists to get feedback on customers and any issues they might have. Putting top priority on the sales floor will eventually benefit customers. That is Mr. Onishi's management style.
I believe the stylists here have the most difficult job. They can't work just when it's convenient for them. They have to constantly serve the customer, whether they're having a good day or a bad day. This, I believe, is really hard.
What's more, Mr. Onishi has been working to expand the selection of original products. They are sold under the Only MI series. The aim is to develop high-quality original products with reasonable prices.
I understand original products are a big focus now. Yes. The biggest factor behind the decline of department stores is that we were unable to propose products of value to customers. That's why we began developing original products. Even during the bubble economy, the most we could sell of one item was about 20,000 or 30,000 units across all stores. Considering that, we started making women's shoes using different channels for our 3 main stores and branches, and for regional stores. In central Tokyo, we've generated annual sales of 20,000 pairs, so we're slowly achieving results.
To build closer relationships with customers, Isetan is undertaking various initiatives, such as developing small-scale stores. At Haneda Airport, they opened a store for business travelers. Their main target is men, who are said to shop less frequently than women. Meanwhile, to capture women customers who typically don't shop at department stores, they set up branches focused on upscale cosmetics inside commercial facilities at train stations. They're also here on a highway. This is a rest area on the way to Tokyo. Through the main entrance and directly ahead is the Isetan store. This is a temporary shop. Products are constantly being replaced to allow the company to find out what sells and to carry out trial marketing.
Rather than waiting in our stores for customers to come, we plan to go out to where people are gathered and offer products they want. For example, by getting business people to learn about Isetan here, we hope they'll come to our main stores when they have time.
The purpose of this shop is to expand contact with customers in the blind spots of department stores and develop new demand.
When I think about it, the area that brings in the greatest profit for our company is none other than the sales floor. By offering good services and satisfying the customer, they're more willing to spend, and that ultimately leads to profit. I believe management for a retailer is rooted in the connection with the customer.
Amid shifting consumer preferences, luring back customers will remain a constant challenge.
Changing emissions from copper refineries into fertilizer. That is where Sumitomo Chemical got its start. For 100 years, we've been delivering the power of chemistry around the world. And we will continue to help make the world a better place for the next 100 years and more.
Mitsui & Company.
My parents work at a really great company, which makes cool computers and LCD TVs. Not only that, they build elevators for skyscrapers and zooming fast bullet trains. My mom designs the company's CT scan systems, which spot diseases. My dad develops power generation systems so people will have plenty of electricity. The company where my parents work is Toshiba.
Has anybody finished doing their pictures?
I have.
All around the world, Toshiba technology is hard at work. bringing smarter, faster, more sustainable development to life.
When I grow up, I want to work for people.
For a growing future. Toshiba.
Sasuke, a new type of sports entertainment program conquering the world.
It's about human achievement and people's passions, and I think that relates to almost everybody.
From Japan to the world, Ninja Warrior, Tokyo Broadcasting System.
You're watching Channel Japan. In our next segment, Project Japan, we bring you a report from the Nikkei online edition about unique products and amazing techniques.
Yes, that's right. Now, we've brought some foods into the studio today. If you take a look, this is called yakitori. It's a traditional Japanese dish, and it's basically skewered grilled chicken. And over here is obviously sushi. And this is called manju. It's a traditional sweet. It's a bit like cake filled with a sweet bean paste. So what do you think these foods have in common?
They have something in common.
They do.
They're all delicious and commonly in Japan, but other than that, I have no clue.
They're all very popular, yes, you're right. And the other common characteristic is that they're all made not by hand, but by machines.
Really?
And new food processing machines are being developed one after another, making it possible for these kinds of dishes to be prepared not by a human touch, but by machines. So take a look.
The Project Japan. Rice rolls for sushi are prepared one after another. The speed? 1 every second. The aim was a soft texture, like that created by a sushi chef. Our first robot is one that rolls sushi automatically. This is the factory of Suzumo Machinery, the world's biggest sushi robot maker. Here, 10 robots of a certain type are made every day. This sushi robot. We were shown how it works. One every second, or 3,600 rolls every hour. All that's left to do is top it with fish, and it's done. They say it was developed so that the rice is rolled gently as if by a sushi chef. The rolls are soft enough that they almost break apart when held. How is a robot able to make such delicate rolls? The secret is the rice insertion slot.
The top wing mixes the rice and the bottom wing drops it down in sequence.
By mixing it, an appropriate amount of air enters between the rice grains. The rice is then dropped in that condition to the roll-making section.
When squeezing the rice into a roll, it's mixed this way and dropped down. By doing that, for the first time, we were able to make rice rolls that contain air and are soft.
Once dropped, the rice passes through here and is gradually reduced to a small uniform amount.
The most important part of the machine is this. This is a corporate secret.
Next, a comb-like blade cuts the rice to size. A regular blade may cut into individual rice grains or crush them, causing moisture to escape. To mimic the technique of sushi chefs as they pick up and gently roll the rice, they develop these comb-like blades. When moisture escapes from the rice grains, they become sticky like glue. But because the robot doesn't cut into or crush them, the rice doesn't stick to the plate. Cut into a uniform size, the rice is inserted into a mold on a turntable and pressed from the top. The bottom part acts as a sushi chef's left hand. The top white part is the right hand. And that's how the soft rice roll is prepared. The growing popularity of sushi around the world has boosted exports. This is their sushi robot for overseas markets. It can be operated in 7 languages, including English, Korean, and French. Suzumo Machinery currently ships sushi robots to 65 countries and territories around the world. Exports account for about 15% of their total sales volume. Sushi rollers aren't the only robots on a roll. The company has also been ramping up production of robots that make seaweed rolls and rice bowls, which are also popular overseas. They say output has increased by 20% over the past 3 years. To meet growing demand, they plan to build a new plant by next spring.
Soon, we'll build a new facility to increase our manufacturing capacity. I think we'll be able to expand production by 30 to 40%.
The company hopes the Japanese food boom overseas will continue to fuel their business. Next is a machine that automatically wraps a sweet bean paste cake, or manju. But they're not the only thing it can make. Introducing the manju wrapping machine. This is Rayon Automatic Machinery. It's the world's largest maker of manju wrapping machines. Their top seller is this. They show us how it works. The main ingredients are the sweet bean paste and sticky rice. The cakes come out one after another. When cut, the paste is cleanly wrapped. Company President Yasunori Tashiro tells us how it works.
Once the ingredients are added, they are shaped into a stick with the sticky rice wrapped around the paste. Then the shutter divides it, and the individual pieces are completely wrapped.
The ingredients are inserted from 2 different openings. After passing through nozzles, the sticky rice wraps around the sweet bean paste into a stick-like form. The part that cuts the sticks and wraps them into round balls is called a shutter. This is the key. 6 blades close in a radial pattern, cutting the ingredients. Each blade is 3 centimeters thick. There's a reason for this specific measurement. They showed us by cutting a stick with thin, sharp blades. They're sliced into round pieces, but aren't wrapped. When made by hand, the sticky rice is gradually pulled over the bean paste. The movement of the shutter plays an important role. Looking at high-speed camera footage, the thick blades of the shutter appear to push and wrap the sticky rice. The rice is stretched evenly and wrapped around the paste. As the shutter closes, they're separated, and it's done. There are other functions. When the ingredients pass through the shutter and are dropped, the platform on the bottom slides up.
This stops the cake from being stretched and rounds it into a ball.
To prevent the cakes from stretching due to their own weight, the platform on the bottom is timed to catch them as the shutter closes. In this way, a round cake is created. What's more, by replacing the shutter section, it's possible to use the machine for other types of food. For example, Salisbury steaks filled with cheese or ring-shaped fried foods. They have 50 different shutters. Since it can handle Japanese, Western, and Chinese foods, the machine has generated strong interest overseas and is exported to over 115 countries and territories.
We believe demand in Japan will hit a ceiling. This machine can handle various foods, so there are wide applications in overseas markets. We want to meet those needs and expand internationally.
Next, a machine that automatically skewers ingredients for yakitori. But it can also be used for other foods. Introducing the automatic yakitori skewering machine. A small workshop located in a quiet residential neighborhood. This is Kojima Gikken Kogyo with just 5 employees. What they developed is this automatic skewering machine. They showed us how it works. Ingredients that arrive on a conveyor belt are skewered one after another. The red light is the sensor. It detects the position of the ingredients, allowing the skewers to hit the center. The machine can make one every 3 seconds. It's said that even a skilled chef can only make 100 of them in an hour. This machine prepares 1,200 in the same time. The secret to the precise skewering is a part called the tray. They showed us how it works using a model.
A machine can't mimic the skewering movement of the hand, so the top and bottom parts position the ingredients in a wave shape, and the skewer is pushed through the center.
By hand, the ingredients are skewered in a sewing motion. With this machine, they are pressured from the top and bottom.
By pressing them alternately, they're shaped in a wave-like form.
In this way, the skewer can be pierced through the center of the ingredients. What's more, it's possible to skewer something as small as this. On top of a tray are kernels of corn. They're pierced without a problem. The company says they receive requests to use the machine for various other foods. For example, fish and squid slices, and firefly squid. Even thin ingredients can be properly skewered. To handle various foods, they've developed different types of trays, which now number about 1,300. Company president Minoru Kojima has been developing skewering machines for over 30 years. It all started with an argument he had with the owner of a yakitori restaurant.
I was having a hard time at work, so I went to a yakitori shop where I was a regular. It just so happened that they were out of stock. I told the owner that he should have at least saved me one. I was drinking, so it developed into an argument from there. I was a machinist, so I thought if I made a machine like this, it would sell. So I started working on the idea.
They've started getting orders from overseas. For example, this is a tray for shrimp ordered from Spain. They also exhibited products at a fair in the US this year, their first time abroad.
Last year, we decided to begin expanding overseas because we found that there was a demand out there.
A Japanese-developed skewering machine is about to take flight around the world.
Well, I'm very surprised to find out that the food that we eat often are actually made by machines. These innovations are quite impressive. But Utsuda-san, what's driving the development of such machines in Japan?
Well, actually, we've talked about this on our program before, but Japan is the world-leading manufacturer of industrial robots, and you could say the technology used behind advanced in robots used for, say, car production is also being applied to food processing industry.
I imagine machine would help standardize quality and make it possible to mass-produce products at very low cost.
Yes, you're right. Because, for example, sushi in the past had to be made by trained chefs, and they were expensive. You had to go to high-end restaurants. But the development of sushi robots made it possible for restaurants to serve sushi without trained chefs, and they're now used in rotating sushi restaurants like this one. And they also make the sushi that's sold in supermarkets and convenience stores.
So they're the reason why we can eat sushi anywhere without having to pay too much.
You could definitely say that.
Well, the sushi becoming very popular overseas now, I imagine export of these robots are also growing.
Yes, you're right there too. They're used widely in restaurants overseas, and Suzumo Machinery, who makes those sushi robots, is actually planning to expand production and explore markets overseas. And another maker, Reon Automatic Machinery, has also been growing its overseas customer base for its encrusting machine, and they say now it's used in over 100 countries and regions. And I have a graph over here that shows the growth in exports for food processing machines in general, and demand in Japan has mostly been flat due to the shrinking population. So many of these companies have been making efforts to cultivate markets overseas.
So where are the biggest markets?
Well, according to the Japan Food Machinery Manufacturers Association, the top destination in 2012 was China, and then followed by South Korea, Thailand, the US, Taiwan. So as you can see, the Asian region is one of the big export markets, and that's also where the labor costs are rapidly rising. And another thing is, if you take China, for example, food safety is a big concern, and safety requirements are becoming stricter. So many companies are starting to use machines to process food to minimize the source of contamination.
After the break, we'll bring you an episode from World Business Satellite.
ยังจำได้หรือเปล่านะ เรื่องต่างๆที่เกิดขึ้นตอนวาดรูปนี้ แต่ถ้ารถยนต์ในฝันของฉันมีจริง ฉันคงจะมีความสุขมากเลย
How do we build sustainability into our relationship with Mother Earth? That's Kaiteki, Mitsubishi Chemical Holdings.
Traditional.
Consistent.
Precise.
Speedy.
Professional. Innovative.
Polite. Quality from Japan, the best of business in Asia. SMBC, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation.
Where we see nothing, there could be anything. Panasonic is putting the endless energy of the sun to work. Generating, storing, and managing energy efficiently. Helping power our daily lives.
A better life, a better world. Panasonic.
Asia, the engine of the global economy. Japan, a regional powerhouse. And now, direct from Japan, economic news with a global impact. In Chinese and English, delivered by Nikkei. Read the future, lead the economy. Nikkei, Japan's leading media for business.
You're watching Channel Japan. In our next segment, we show you an episode from popular economics program. Today, it's from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite.
Yes, we'll be looking at how smartphones are being used to put in orders at restaurants and make payments for products and services.
Have a look.
A traditional Japanese pub in central Tokyo. Seafood skewered and grilled over a charcoal flame. They have become a hit with customers who are more accustomed to skewered chicken. This newness isn't just in the style of food served here.
An assortment of 10 skewers. Will that be all?
I also want buttered scallops. Is that a smartphone?
It's an iPod.
An iPod? Interesting.
We take orders with this.
Orders are taken by store-bought iPods and iPhones. The information is sent over Wi-Fi to the kitchen, where it's printed out.
The orders come directly here, so you can start cooking right away. It's easy for the table staff and the cooks.
The data is also sent to an iPad, which is linked to the safe and functions as a cash register. This pub uses such mobile devices and smartphones to handle payments under a system called Suma Regi.
The cost of setting this up is a quarter of conventional payment systems, so the investment is extremely low.
The advantage of this system is not only the low cost, but also the convenience of information management.
Even if I'm not here or I'm on a business trip, I can use an application to know right away how the restaurant is doing, how many customers we have, and what sales are like. Data management is possible from anywhere, and that's a huge advantage.
Suma Regi was developed by a startup called Plugram. The mobile devices aren't included, but the cost of the receipt printer, safe, and software is about $1,000. But price isn't the only draw.
There are dedicated cash registers, like those you would find in most stores, but they're big, and you need a place to put them. With this, all that's necessary is an iPad, and you can keep the receipt printer and safe out of sight, so it's possible to play with the store layout.
They expect to install about 400 systems in the first year. About 2 million point-of-sales registers are estimated to be in use nationwide, and the company hopes to expand adoption of Suma Regi by promoting its low cost and convenience.
Cash registers are indispensable for stores, so it's a big denominator for our business.
The spread of smartphones is giving birth to new trends in the field of payments. Miwa Kubo runs a home manicure service. On this day, she is visiting a home in Chiba Prefecture. Her customer is a young mother who says she doesn't have time to go out. Ms. Kubo visits 30 to 40 such clients every month. When she's done, she pulls out a regular smartphone from her bag and inputs the fee.
I'm using my phone to process the credit card information.
A credit card reader is attached to the phone to process the payment. Only a signature is necessary,
All I need is my credit card, so I don't have to go to an ATM to withdraw cash. It's very convenient.
Ms. Kubo says she lost many potential clients because they didn't have enough cash on hand.
Since customers can now use a credit card, they're more willing to make reservations. That's an advantage. It helps me sign up new customers.
The service is run by Rakuten. Once they pass a credit check, individual proprietors only need to buy a $30 card reader and download an application. A sales commission of 3% is paid to the company.
Since our launch, sales of card readers and the transaction value have continued to double on a monthly basis. We're extremely optimistic about growth.
Conventional credit card readers cost over $1,000 each, which limited their use to companies with a big customer base. In contrast, smartphone card readers are low cost, making them accessible for small and mid-sized retailers and individual proprietors. Starting this April, another startup in Tokyo launched a similar service. Koini takes a 4% sales commission but currently offers card readers free of charge.
It's said that there are 4 million small and mid-sized retailers and service providers. 80 to 90% still operate as cash-only businesses. We see big possibilities there.
Major credit card companies are also eyeing this new payment market. Credit Saison partnered with Koini in April to deploy the service in exchange for a portion of the sales commission.
It's an extremely convenient and secure payment scheme. We believe people who were reluctant to use credit cards will be willing to give this a try.
Commerce is undergoing a big shift. These new payment systems may revolutionize the relationship between retailers and consumers.
Our next topic is about drugstores.
That's right. We'll be introducing a new strategy behind drugstores, but before we do, let me explain quickly the types of products sold in Japanese drugstores. We have a picture over here of inside of a store, and obviously there are medicines, but also cosmetics, tissue paper, bath products, cleaning products, baby products, and health foods.
Well, that's quite a lot of products, but I understand there's a lot of drugstores now offering a huge selection of food as well.
There are, aren't there? And there's actually a reason for this. But before that, if you can take a look at this chart, unlike other retailers such as department stores and supermarkets that are struggling, drugstores have actually expanded over the years.
I see. Well, the growth is very rapid. But does that have something to do with their big selection of food?
Yes, that's the key part of their new strategy, so take a look.
A drugstore in Matsudo, Chiba Prefecture. Arriving here is Takamitsu Ikeno, the chairman of Welcia Kanto, the parent company.
Good morning.
Is the store busy?
Yes, we're very busy.
Mr. Ikeno worked his way up from the sales floor. Despite a busy schedule, he visits the company's stores every day. A particular focus of development has been the highly profitable prescription medicine department.
How many customers come every day? 50 to 70? What kind of customers are the most common? From next door.
Next door are a senior citizen's home and a clinic. They were actually invited to set up when the drugstore was being built. Welcia has been focusing on opening stores jointly with medical institutions and senior citizens' homes.
We're thinking of a business style in which our pharmacists work together with clinics and senior citizens' homes to provide medical care.
The company has been working to leverage its pharmacy business, with its pharmacists actively involved with partnering institutions. For example, the senior citizens' home next door receives medicines for its residents from a Welcia pharmacist.
They bring over the medicines, so it saves us time.
It's not just prescription medicines. The elderly residents also come to the store to buy daily goods. It is a unique store development strategy of inviting facilities that will become buyers to set up nearby and generate steady customers and demand. With the rapidly aging population, such initiatives are expected to further expand.
I think drugstores will continue evolving. There are growing expectations for drugstores to support the aging population.
Aichi Prefecture has the second biggest number of drugstores in the country. This year, one chain launched a new plan. Valor Drugstore, which operates 200 branches in the Chubu region.
We're trying to open a large-scale store for the first time in 8 years.
This autumn, the company will open a new large-scale store for the first time in 8 years. Construction is proceeding at a rapid pace. The total floor space will be 2,000 square meters, double that of their regular branches. The purpose is
there's strong demand from customers for a store where they can buy everything they need in one place. We're going to enlarge the store and increase our food selection.
With the expanded sales floor, they plan to increase their selection not of medicines, but food. In fact, they've been taking advantage of the group company's supermarket network to procure supplies. In the store are a variety of frozen foods and drinks.
We sell these for about 40 cents. We want to aggressively promote our low-cost private label brand and grow sales.
The V logo indicates that they are products under the group company's private label brand. They offer a selection of foods with prices as competitive as supermarkets. Inside one customer's basket is food. What other products does she want?
I want meat, especially for my kids. It'd be perfect if they had fresh foods.
The biggest customer request is fresh foods. So they decided to begin test sales at their new store. The store is located right next to a residential district. About 30,000 people live within a 1-kilometer radius of the store. Their aim is to capture that demand.
If we succeed, we want to expand the business to our 10 other large-scale stores. We also plan to create a new product mix at this store, while also revamping the product mix elsewhere.
As competition heats up, drugstores may also need to cast off their old skin and seek new strategies to survive.
The line between supermarkets and drugstores seems to be disappearing.
You could say that. Now, the growth in private label brands that we saw in the video definitely indicates the strength of drugstores. But at the same time, some in the industry are urging caution.
I see. So, it's certainly been necessary for them to be very selective in what they offer. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so make sure to tune in next week.
The view is almost like peering down on the star-filled night sky at your feet. is the city at night seen from a height of 450 meters. Make unforgettable memories. City lights stretching for as far as the eye can see. Find it at Tokyo Skytree.
Hey, look at this. They're building a huge steel plant with Kobelco technology.
Kobelco? Never heard of it.
It's Japanese. They can make iron with incredible speed. What once took 8 hours can be done in just 10 minutes.
Wow, the Japanese are incredible. The country of karate.
Ha! 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 Karate has nothing to do with it.
True.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green air conditioning systems in Singapore.
Echo changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
Channel Japan. Your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.